Welcome to the Become Revolutionary show, where we talk to you about how to get over those hurdles to become revolutionary in life and business. We're your hosts, Noelle and Charlene, and today we'll be talking about using your voice for good.
That's right. And we're joined by Dr. Izdihar Jamil, Ph.D. She's a #1 international best-selling author of Moneymakers and a media expert. She's appeared on Forbes, Fox TV, and TED, discussing her mission to share women's voices without prejudice. She helps women to be the #1 authority in their field and get featured on major media with proven and effective methods. She lives in California with her husband and children, and she loves baking and reading. Welcome, Izdihar.
Hello, Charlene, Noelle, and everybody to our listening. And thank you for having me today. And may peace be upon you. I'm so excited to be with you today. And I'm usually in the West Coast, but today I'm coming from the tropical Malaysia, where you can feel the vibe, the culture with my family, with my mom and my family. I haven't been back for almost 3 years because of COVID, but what a beautiful snapshot of my life to have this conversation here in Malaysia.
Oh, it's such a gift. It's so cool. This is like the best part of the interview. And like, we can talk to anyone around the world and just connect and have such meaningful conversations. And yeah, we invited you on just because you've lived a life. Holy have you ever. And you have so many beautiful stories that really highlight lessons learned and how to overcome adversity in really creative ways. And we've just really wanted to amplify that message here and give space and honor to that. So why don't we open up and let our viewers in on who are you? What are you about? Share with us a bit about the backstory, wherever it feels most comfortable for you to start.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And, it all started, part of it started when my husband, Rizal, says, I got my dream job. Do you want to move to America? And I was like, okay, babe, let's do it. So I left my job as a computer scientist with a Ph.D. and my family in Malaysia. So you can imagine Rizal, myself, my 4-year-old son Abram, my baby girl Nadra. We flew to Orange County, California. And not long after settling in, I stopped at Whole Foods, which is a really posh grocery store, with my hijab, like I always do. And then there's this, as I'm looking for dates, there's this another shopper, middle-aged white guy, says to me, are you a Muslim? And I said, yes, I am. Then he says, well, I have read the Quran, and it says that killing in the name of Islam is permissible. Are you going to blow yourself up? And I'm thinking, dude, to even read Arabic. But I say, I'm doing my groceries, I've got young kids, I'm not going to blow myself up. Then he says, if you're not a mom, are you going to blow yourself up? And Charlene and Noelle, I can just feel like everything in me just shaking with anxiety. My chest tightens, I couldn't breathe, so I had to leave. Then a few weeks after, my baby Nadra was having the worst tantrum ever. If you're moms, you know what I mean, like one of the tantrums. And then as soon as Riza comes out from work, I said, babe, look after her. I'm taking a shower. So I'm just washing my face when I hear bang, bang, bang. Come down now. There's police officers waiting for you.
No.
So I dried myself off, put on my hijab, picked up Nadra, I go downstairs, and I see 2 police officers in full gear, guns over their shoulders, fingers on the trigger. And he says, ma'am, your neighbor says there's a baby crying. Why is your baby crying? Well, she's a baby. And then he checks her out. Nadra cries even louder, but there's nothing wrong with her, so they leave. And now I'm too scared to even leave home. I couldn't leave home. I was too scared. So to cheer me up, Rizal got me a present, an online course. So I can be an online coach and consultant, which means I can work from anywhere and still be with the kids, which is exactly what I want. I don't want to work at Google from 9 to 5. I want to be with my family and empower other women. So I studied the course. And one of the things I have to do, I still remember that I had to go live on social media. So there I am, Mother's Day, 2018. I put on a pretty pink top, some makeup, a floral hijab. And just before hitting that live button for the first time, I freeze.
Yeah.
People are going to think you're a terrorist. And I just say, God, just help me be brave.
Mm-hmm.
Switching on the camera, freeze again. Prayer, camera, freeze for 30 minutes. So I finally hit the live button. I share my message. And then I just cry.
Oh.
Then I do it again. The next day, and the next, and the next, and the next. It wasn't easy, but I persisted. And today, I'm a #1 international best-selling author. I've been featured on Forbes, TED, TV, magazines, hundreds of media, and spoken to thousands of people around the world. No person should ever have to be afraid of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And your unique voices should be heard on prestigious platforms around the world without prejudice. And that's why I'm here today.
Wow. That is inspiring, encouraging to everyone from everywhere, no matter what is holding you guys back, no matter what's holding us back. I can speak for Charlene and ourselves. That's incredibly inspiring. And I can't imagine having gone through that. So I just want to take a moment to honor like everything that you've gone through and overcame in the process. So you take an online course. You take an online
my
course.
husband bought. Yeah.
That's awesome. First of all, I love that part of the story because
Yeah.
it was like, no, you're amazing and you have something to share with the world. So I'm going to support you in this way, which is amazing. And I've been watching from the sidelines. I see him supporting you in other ways, and I think it's totally cool. So you go through this online course. Like, did you start to create a community there? Did you start to feel this entrepreneurial spirit rising up in you? Like, what kind of happened? Because you were working in computer science in Malaysia, and then you weren't an entrepreneur, is my understanding before that. So as you're in that for the first time, like, were you kind of like, oh, this isn't raising something in me that's always been there? Or was it really scary for you? Or like, what came up for you that when you got thrown into this online course?
Yeah, I mean, like, oh my God, this online course. I think one of the things is it's a blessing as well, because it kind of made me focused on the victim mentality, because I was so sad, I was so depressed, I was getting sick. So it kind of focused me to have something to do, right? Something positive that I can do, I can learn and use my skill set. Before that, my husband and I, when we were in England, we had like a small business, like an organic delivery business where we deliver organic from produce to customer stores. And it came up because I was pregnant with my first child and I wanted to eat healthy. So my husband and I came up with that as our own need that transcends into helping the community. So I had some background in that, but it was more of a delivery brick and mortar service kind of thing. But there's this online, right? So like everything came with me, like, and can I do it? I have to be in front of people. Why can't they just come to me? And as I was sharing it with my best friend, I was telling her, look, this is what I'm going through. This is what I'm practicing or I'm learning. And my idea then was I just wanted to help moms to save money, because that's something that I had learned myself. And my best friend was like, I need your help. I have 5 expenses. I need your help. I'm like, fantastic. We can do. I have a course putting together that I want to test out. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And then I told my best friend, but you're still gonna pay me, okay? Even though it's best friend, you're still gonna pay me because then that's commitment. So she was like, okay. So my best friend became my first client because I shared my vision. I shared what I wanted to do. And then from that, it started off with me, like I said, sharing my voice on social media for the first time ever on live. I hardly post on social media. I think my PhD professor posts more than me, and he's older than me, but I hardly post. So it took a lot to put myself out there because becoming online means that you got to have an online presence. And one of the ways to do that is social media. So I just started off with helping my best friend, and then it went to helping the next woman, and then the next woman, and then the next mom, and then the next woman. Over the years, my business has grown to different niches, from teaching women to run the business or making sales, and now organically throughout time, where I am now is about women sharing their voices, and particularly on prestigious platforms and media, whether it's TED, whether it's Forbes, whether it's magazine, becoming a best-selling author. That's where, this is where I am. This is where I feel like I fit in, because I truly feel that our voice matters in every capacity, in different kinds of platform. It can make a difference. That's what I believe in.
Oh, and let's talk about that. Your voice matters. Where does that originate from? Like, is there a story around that? Yeah. Where does that originate from?
Yeah. It just started off with coming to America. It was early on. I just enrolled my son to his preschool. One of those days, I just went to pick him up with my baby Nadrash. He was about a year old then. And as I'm picking him up from his classroom, from Mrs. Martinez's class, I wanted to go through a shortcut to the car park. And to go through the shortcut, I passed through a dining hall. So the older kids were having their lunch. It was lunchtime then. So I passed through. And just before the door was right in front of me, Charlene and Noel, it's just right in front of me. I just had to push it out. And then suddenly from behind me, I heard, "Hey, suicide bomber." And I just froze. Did someone actually call me that with my kids? I think what hurts the most when they call my kids that name, it's just, you can see clearly I'm picking up my kids from school. And then I just slowly turn around. Hundreds of eyeballs looked at me. Silence. Nobody said a word. Nobody. And I just feel like crying. I feel like screaming. I feel like shouting. And one of the thoughts I had, that I doubted myself, that I didn't hear it. I heard it, but I just started to doubt myself. And then I did the only thing I could do. I huddled my kids with me. Let's go. Push the door, put them in the car, sat in the driving seat, call my husband. "Hey, babe, someone just called me a suicide bomber." And I cried. I don't know what I said to him. I don't know what he said to me. And then I texted Mrs. Martinez, Abra's teacher, "Hey, this is what happened." I don't know who, but this was what happened. And when I went back, a lot of emotions went through me. I need to pull out my kids from school. I need to be homeschooling him. Society is so bad. I made a mistake coming to America. I need to go to the police. I need to go to the media. They're going to love this story. But something in me said, just stay. Stay in that school. Don't do all of that. Just stay. It's going to be okay. So I stayed in the school, and then the first thing that happened when Mrs. Martinez see me the next day, she just came to me and just held me and said, "I'm so sorry for what happened." I told the principal, I'm like, okay, she told the principal. And I just do my everyday thing. Weeks or months after that, suddenly as I'm picking up a bra from school, park the car, walk towards the classroom, from the car park, literally this lady jumped up from the car park, shook her hand. Mrs. Jamil, my name is this. I'm the principal here at this school, and I'm really sorry for what happened, but I just want you to know that everything's been taken care of. That child isn't going to bother you anymore. And I'm like, what? How did that happen? And then she said that one of the friends of that particular child said to the teacher, what this child said, what his friend said isn't okay. This is what this child said. This is what his friend said. It isn't okay. So that's how the school, and I didn't even know this whole thing was happening behind me. But just imagine that voice. That's just one voice that said, this is not okay.
Yeah.
That child, I've been praying for him for so long. He made me feel safe. He made my child feel safe. He made a difference to my life. He just doesn't know how big of a difference that he made, but the courage that he had to go over his friends and said, this is not okay, showed me that the truth will always prevail, that justice will always be taken care of. And it's not that child's fault who said that word. It's not his fault either that he said that word or he had the preconceptions about me. It's not his fault either. But the courage that it takes for you to share your voice makes a difference. And I've like how that voice in my heart for so long. He's probably no more than 12. I don't know how old is he. I've never met any of the children, but he's probably no more than 12 years old. It's elementary school. But if that child can make a difference and make me feel safe, we had the best time at that school for the years that we stayed at that school. We had the best time. We always feel it, and never has it ever happened again. So can you imagine walking to a school when you feel like you're going to be attacked or something like that? We've never had that since that particular incident ever again. So I feel that your voice, you just gotta let it be heard. And that's why like I do what I do, taking women's voices to be heard in any and every capacity that I can do, and whatever platforms that we can tap into. Because just like that boy, if that boy or that girl, I still don't even know whether it's a boy or girl, but at the very least, if it's just being heard and it can make an impact, and it will make an impact, that's already my job done for in this life.
That is so amazing. Powerful. So there are many of us that feel like we have a calling on our lives, that we need we have a purpose here. I've also encountered many people who feel like their voice isn't worthy. And so I was wondering if you could speak to that person right now. Like they don't feel like they have anything to contribute to society that hasn't already been done, or that perhaps their life is no different than, their voice is no different than another's. So what would you say to that, Izdihar?
I would say that it's totally normal for them to feel that way. I still do feel that way. I still have that insecurity within me. But what I did then is I let that, use that, and let that just speak a word in whatever capacity that I can, whether it speak using, like for me, I would use social media, would speak to a friend or speak to a person. I think this unworthiness is like a whole tap into the roots of like people cap the environment that we were in, right? Or the society or the culture that we're in. Like I've always been told, as well as my culture, don't speak, right? So whatever the elders tell you, you just gotta follow. And then here I am now speaking my voice. Like it's still scary No, Noel, it's still scary for me to speak my voice. It still is. I still have the insecurity, but I just practice saying one word. I just practice saying a line. I just practice saying it. And then I just like, for me, I just went straight to social media, right? It's like a huge shift. Not that I recommend everybody to do that, but I just practice saying one line, one word. I just practice showing my face. If you see my previous posts, you would never see my face. You would see a face of a flower, a bug, a leaf, or a cat. You would just see a waterfall. But I practice. It takes a lot to practice because I feel that when you feel you're unworthy, actually, it's something in you telling you have something to say. It's actually the opposite.
Wow.
It's actually the opposite. Like, you have something beautiful to say. And who cares if people are like it or not gonna like it? Like, I'll give you an example. My daughter Nadra, she wrote a book of the girl who loves ponies when she's 6 years old. And guess what? Her brother says to her, "Don't write it, don't this." You know what big brothers are like, right?
Yeah.
This and that. And then she was like, "No, I'm just gonna do it." And she just did. So she kind of like shut him down and just went for it, went to share her voice because she loves ponies. And one of her dream is to have her own pony. And then guess what? Over the years, Nadra and I were like asking my son, Albert, do you want to write your book? I mean, he is older now. Do you want to write your book? No, 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 no. But then he starts to see how the impact that Nadra and I had on our books. We were on TV. Nadra had actually been interviewed on TV as well, on Fox. Wow. On TV. She's been on speaking engagements. She's been on videos. So Oprah sees that. And then at one time, like I think it was last year, we went to a book retreat in California. And he was like, "Mommy, I want to write my book too." I'm like, "Really?" "Yeah." So why? Because he was like, "I see Nadra doing it and she's going places." And also because, "Mommy, I want to buy a computer for my gaming." I'm like, okay, like, okay. And then what's beautiful that happened in that retreat, Nadra actually coached Abrar on how to write his book.
I love it.
So it's just the impact of like you're sharing your voice, your story. If you just can see if people who feel that way can just see the possibility of impact that they can have to someone else, just like that boy who said, "This is not okay," just like Nadra. "I don't care. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to make money. I'm going to get my pony. I want other little girls to see their dreams can come true." If you can just see the impact. And I feel that if you could just imagine it, why wouldn't you share a word?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just share a sentence? And even if you say, "You know what, I don't feel I'm worthy," right? Even if you just say, "I don't feel I'm worthy. I don't feel I'm good enough to share this, but I hope it's going to help someone," which is this.
Yeah.
I think that's powerful and brave.
So pertinent to adults as well. If Nadra had listened to her brother or whoever else was in her environment,
close to her,
saying that's stupid. Like, why would you do that? No one wants to read a book about ponies or whatever that came out of his mouth. I'm kind of putting words in his mouth here. But if she said, "Oh yeah, like that person's probably correct," or my brother's right, like no one's going to read this book. What's the point? Then not only would her book not be realized and her opportunities and her confidence grown and all of that stuff, but look who followed suit, right? The naysayer was like, "Actually, that's kind of cool. I kind of want to go after that too." And so I think that is such a beautiful illustration on how when we have something planted inside of us, even if those in our immediate environment don't respond to it right away, to still follow your yes forward, because they will come around. They'll all come around.
Correct.
Well, and the vision was given to her to fulfill. She wants a pony. First off, I love that your children are like so focused. They're like, "Yeah, I see where this is going. Listen, let's go." She's real close to that pony. But here's the thing too, you're empowering children and adults alike to have their voices heard. How cool is this, you guys? For children to know that their voice matters. What kind of adults are they going to be, and what kind of children are they going to raise? That is generational, my friends. And I just love that. And you don't know what's going to happen with your ripple. Like, my first book was written out of my father's death, and it was to help children and families navigate grief with the healthy strategies I was using in childcare. I wrote that book because I could not find what I needed at the time. Everybody was speaking in analogies at that time about death. And I'm like, no, I just want to dish it straight to my daughter. I don't want to have that. It's my parenting style. So if I don't have a book, I'm going to write one my own. And I did, and it poured out of me. And there was many times where I second guessed it, but I was like, somebody's going to need this. I'll never know. I've heard feedback from the book. Correct. And you'll always hear feedback, but I really don't know the extent of that ripple. But I do know that when I put it in the hands of somebody who's really needed it because I had it to give, that's made an impact in that moment. And that's what your voice does for other people. There's something inside of all of us that's been planted. It's up to us to understand what that is that we need to step into. And it's usually right on the other side of whatever scares us the most. And that's what I've realized. That's a whole nother walk, but you've just painted so many lessons in there. So in this process of going through all this and looking back, like, what do you feel has been the biggest lesson that comes out of all of this for you? Like, if you could stamp it with one big one.
Oh gosh. Not sure if there's like one big one, because there's so many little ones that make like the whole thing. But I feel that it's exactly what you touched, Charlene, the ripple effect that you didn't even know that could be possible from me starting to share my voice, or writing my book or going on TV, to like my daughter seeing it and using that as her modality to share her voice, to make money, to get a pony, to my son. And then the rippling effect of my son. And now next year, his classroom, because all the children in my son's classroom wants to be an author. And they told the teacher, Mrs. Wozniak. And Mrs. Wozniak was like, I have to ask Abra's mom. I'm like, okay. And so we come up with an idea that we're going to do an anthology for the whole classroom next year and take their voices out, and take care of that beautiful voice, because then these children can see writing isn't just a pain, right? They could see the impact that it can have. And the things that I went through, my social adversity, it got me to interviews, it got me to speak on the TED platform. And then from the TED platform, I got invited to speak here at the university here in front of this younger generation. So it's just so beautiful, the impact. It's just scary, like when you want to share your voice, it's just scary. Like, I haven't told that story that I said about someone calling me a suicide bomber before. I haven't, it has, my son is now 11. And it happened when he was in preschool. I could just still feel it. But then I've always had that strength in me. Like, if I were just to share my voice, this could happen. And look where it led me to, overcoming my own social adversity, having the guts to share my voice. I mean, it takes balls to wear the hijab in America, doesn't it? It just takes balls to wear the hijab in America. So and then when I went on the TED Talk, what I didn't realize was that the overpouring response that I received from my community, because it takes a lot to share what you share on mainstream for people to see. Wearing the hijab, an immigrant, like I have an accent, it's just different. But for the community to you just helped us a lot in sharing your voice, in sharing their message. So even like on my TED Talk, I still remember, like after my talk, I had one of the longest and loudest standing ovation of the day. But that isn't the kill point. The kill point is after my talk, so many people came to me with tears in their eyes and said, "You touch my heart. I wish my daughter is here to hear your story." It's just like, even till today, Charlene and Noah, I still get messages. My TikTok has been viewed like 60,000 times, 70,000 times. I still get that message that it's so beautiful, your message. I wish my daughter and my children could hear it, for them to be proud of who they are, for people to be open and accepting of each other's differences. And I feel I could retire now, which is, I feel like I could retire now. But then again, it takes a lot to share your voice. And I've shared with Charlene and Noel before our show today. I'm now in a moment where I am pausing or in recovery mode, because I feel like all my ball crashed at the same time, which is so embarrassing and shameful. And I'm just learning to pick myself back up again. But it's my responsibility, because I didn't schedule in full recovery. Like, I went to TED Talk straight after my birth, and it was an intensive process. When I was pregnant, I was always going go, 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 go. I wrote my solo book in 72 hours, Moneymakers. I was always on go, 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 go. I also wanted to share, when you have a big dream, when you want to share your voice, schedule in proper recovery. Just like me, because I'm like crash and burn, like everything is crashing on my balls. I've been seeing a lot of balls lately, haven't I? Like, it could be my next book. It takes balls.
It takes balls.
Right? And one of it is going to be recovery. You heard everybody right first time. It takes balls. My next book.
I love that you're sharing this, though, because it's so important. And Noelle and I have been through a few different seasons in our business too. One recently where we also hit the pause. We call it pruning, spring cleaning, just lightening things up and recentering, right? Reflect and recenter. Where are we at in this journey right now? Where has our journey taken us? Because things grow in really unexpected ways. And even though it may be fruitful, is it still really aligned with what you want to do? Did you pause long enough? Because if you don't plan in those pauses, you're going to burn out. It is endurance. It is a long haul. And there's lots of cool things happening all the time because you're the vessel for it. But how can we honor ourselves, like you're saying, and schedule in more frequent refreshing moments, you know, where we can just kind of just sit with ourselves and not have to experience the pains of those burnouts. I saw something was coming up for Noelle too.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I do have one quick one though. I do have one quick one. Then Noelle's going to jump into a really fun game that we have. But you mentioned at the beginning, you know, like feeling worried about sharing your voice. You know, people are going to think you're a terrorist and stuff now at that time. And then you had to move through that. Have you since, like now that you're established and you've been doing this and you put yourself on a variety of platforms, really big platforms, have you experienced that kind of hater kind of energy? And if so, what's your response to it now?
I think now I'm so much stronger in who I am and what I stand for. And also my energy has shifted. Then I was in the victim mode, right? So when you're in a victim mode, you open yourself up to vampires. So vampires who are just gonna, you know, suck your energy, the load is gonna take advantage. So a majority of things that happened to me was almost at the same time because that was my vibration then. But now I can see that, right? Like, you know, like taking care of myself, obviously, my inner world creates my outer world. Who I am, standing strong. There probably are vampires out there, but I know how to make them sparkle now. Like, just like what is that movie that vampires sparkle when they hit the sunlight? Oh my God! Twilight.
Oh, okay.
Twilight, right?
Twilight, yeah.
When Edward hits the sunlight, they sparkle. So I'm like the light that made them sparkle. So it's a shift in me. Like there's no way I can fight preconception or judgment or change society. Maybe not in my lifetime, maybe not in my children's lifetime. but I can take care of myself. I can take care of my, I can take care of my energy. And then the people that around me that moves with me are the people like slowly, just like Charlene, you were saying, like in alignment with you, right? People who's going to be, look, I don't have many friends, okay? Like my true friends, I don't have a lot. I don't, it's kind of the opposite, that you should have more friends. Over the years, I don't have that many friends. Like the people who matters the most to me are the people who stays with me. Some people just there for that moment. Some people are longer. But it's just who I am now. And look, I pray that nobody ever experienced it. That is actually, Charlene, one of the questions that got asked to me by one of the students at the university. I'm like, God, I pray like you would never feel it or experience it. I pray that my children, myself, wouldn't have to experience it again, because it takes a lot of everything that you've got to bounce back when that happens. So now that I'm more confident in who I am, I know who I am. Yes, heck yeah, I'll wear the hijab. I'll wear colorful hijab. Like, you know, this is like who I am. Like the more I own to it, and smiling, the laughter, the light that I bring in, it just changes everything. And obviously now I know how to respond better to certain preconceptions and certain judgments. I know how I have a bigger padding now that I wouldn't be so affected or like feel such a victimized, that I can bounce myself back up again. So I feel like all those things that I have learned has given me the opportunity to, as a gift and a blessing, for me to create something beautiful, something positive, to take care of women just like you, take care of young voices, to have the courage to be who they, more importantly, is to the courage to be themselves, to be proud of who they are, their identity, their roots, their heritage, and then also to be open and accepting of each other's differences. I mean, just think about it this way, Charlene and Noel. If America is all about burgers and fries, I think it would be really boring. But then we had this samosa and biryani and then this Korean kimchi thing, and then this Malaysian satay. It just, oh my God, like it's just so much flavor, so much color. It's an experience. That's what I feel. So hopefully that is of value to everybody that is listening. I'm still learning. I'm still taking the pause and the recovery. I think of myself as the Tom Brady, right? So Tom Brady wouldn't last where he is now at 44, however years old he is, without proper recovery and the best team to support him. Usually the lifespan of any high performance player is about 2-3 years maximum, because it's such an intense sport. So I think myself as the Serena Williams and Tom Brady, like schedule in proper recovery, have the best team, have a strong mindset. I may not be a paid Olympian, but I am a gold medalist in my field and what I do.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
And what is the thing you always say? I'm a hot property.
I'm a hot property. I'm a hot property. Absolutely. I'm a hot property. Thank you, Noel, for reminding me that.
I do remember what my question was when Charlene kind of put me on the spot there. I was wondering where you think you would be today. You know how we were talking about, like, if your daughter didn't go after the book, like I wonder what she would be doing, right? Like, would she just always be dreaming about that book? Like, where do you think you'd be today had you not continued to say yes in pursuing your own voice?
Oh, probably be in Google or Facebook.
Scrolling.
Well, I've been to Google. I've worked with Google before. With IBM, I've worked with them before.
Oh, okay.
Probably,
Yeah, literally.
Because my background is in academia, right? So probably doing research or go back to something that that's what I'm trained for. That's where my background is. That's where I'm comfortable. That's where a lot of my networks are. But whether I can be as creative. Like my biggest value is freedom. That's my biggest value. Freedom of time, money, choice, physicality, freedom of my voice. That's my biggest value. And I thrive a lot when I have freedom. Like I want to do this, this, and this. Or I like, like this moment, this summer, I'm just gonna take a pause and I'm just gonna do the things that are one thing at a time, because I don't think physically or mentally I could handle it. So that's the freedom that I crave. And surprisingly, I've been sleeping a lot. When my baby takes a nap, I take a nap. When he sleeps, I sleep. So I've kind of like regenerating that part of me. And if you're moms, to take a nap or sleeping is a luxury for you to have that extra.
Same with being able to read full chapters again after you have your children.
Exactly. Or when you take a shower, you want to put your mask on, you want to wash your hair, you want to shave a little bit, right? But you've got like that little bit of pruning time going on that have usually been discarded. But I feel like I was able to kind of slowly bring everything back to me. And one of my intentions coming back to Malaysia is just I want to be with my family, because since I've been away from home for many years, every time my grandma Mamin always sent me at the airport, always. So she passed away a few months ago. And she's not going to be sending me off to the airport now. And then I started to think, this happens to me all the time. Who else am I not going to be seeing next?
Right.
Who else? Because by the time I find out about things and book my flight, I usually can't make it on time. And then over here, they don't wait. If you passed away in the morning, you get buried the same day. If you pass away in the evening, you get buried in the morning. So I just want to be with my family and sleep and be with my family, because I don't know who else am I not going to be seeing. I don't know. So it's just important for those of you because I live far away from my family. It takes me 2 days to get back here. And it's okay to take a pause. The money and everything, God is going to take care of me and my provision. As long as I take care of what's important for me, God is going to take care of me. He's the ultimate provider. He's the most generous. He's going to take care of me. And I know that I've already planned a lot of things happening in my business, like just like Charlene, you say, what's really in alignment. I've already planned things that are really in alignment with me. There's only 3 things I want to focus on for the rest of the year and the beginning of next year. There's only 3 things that I want to do. And that's the only thing that I want to do. And the people that I have. I'm so sorry. It's just,
no,
I know with me, sometimes you laugh, sometimes you cry, sometimes you're like, I don't even know what this woman is talking about. But like I said, I'm a hot property.
No, this is really important, because you know what?
It's a powerful message.
Yeah, powerful message, because this journey is not all sunshine and roses. And let's just cut the crap, right? It's not sunshine and roses. You're not always happy. There's stuff that goes on. There's things that happen. There's people that pass away. This is real stuff. And you do need to hit the pause button. But you're right. You will be taken care of. Your family will be taken care of. Your projects will thrive because you honored yourself with this time, because you honored yourself. It's here because you need to sit with it right now. And that's not comfortable while the world's still going on, especially for us fast-paced people. We do not like to slow down. That is terrifying to us. But we must catch our breath so we can come back stronger and more vibrant moving forward and help even more people. But in that, we've got to find our own recovery too. So yay,
I often say that's a pruning of a tree. We said that before we hit record on this show today. It's like you prune the tree and then it bears more fruit.
Fruit.
Sometimes we have to let go of things and see what needs to be trimmed back. So
and build your legacy through your voice. So your grandma got to know that you spoke your voice. Not only that, but that you impacted so many people. And how cool that she got to witness you live a life well lived like that. And now you're getting to demonstrate that for your children. because you said yes to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that. Thank you for giving the space for my grandma. And, she's a legend and I'm the granddaughter of a legend, right?
Yeah.
Like the things that she's gone through. It's just incredible. My grandma is a stay-at-home housewife, but she loves nice things and she loves money. So she, whenever she wants nice thing, my grandpa to Aji would always give her a set amount of allowance every month. So if she wanted anything more, she had to figure it out herself. And she figured it out herself. She bought her own car. She traveled on her own money. She basically used her skill set of whatever that she has, whether it's sewing, baking, cooking, crafts, whatever it is, to have her dreams. And then Charlene, I see a lot of women were like, no, I don't think I can do it. I don't have the money. And I'm like, Mommy did it. She's not even highly educated, but she figured it out.
Yeah, there you go.
And women were like, I'm not a writer. I can't write a book. Nadra wrote a book at 6 years old. She can't even spell that. It just shows that, there is it's just the preconception that people have about themselves that's stopping them in the way. So I hope that's going to bring light, value to people, that actually the ones that in the way is yourself more than anything else.
Well, let's let people connect with you. If they want to step into their voice and they're like, yes, I need to connect with Dr. Izdihar Jamil, how can they get to you?
Yes. So go to my website, izdiharjamil.com. And you can find my email there, izdiharjamil.com. I'm also on social media at I am Dr. Izdihar Jamil. So I'm on Insta, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook at I am Dr. Izdihar Jamil. I would love to hear from you.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, Izdihar, it has been a pleasure. One more thing before we go. We do end each episode with a round of rapid fire questions so our audience and us can get to know you a little bit more.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let's go for it. It's like one of those Ellen games, right? Like Ellen DeGeneres, she likes to have the games, like she's going to have. I love it.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. Summer or winter?
Summer.
How do you start your day?
Prayer.
Who is your inspiration and why?
Mommy, my grandma, because she never gives up and she creates the life that she wants, exactly how she wants it.
That's amazing. I don't think that my grandmother always said the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, meaning that, we carry the same genes. So I can see that with you and your grandma.
Yes.
Which subject were you the worst at school?
Oh dear God, chemistry. My mom's a chemistry teacher. And it didn't look good for her when I failed the chemistry subject, that I had to go to a special class because I was so bad at it. That I literally, whenever I do experiment, would just blow things up. So chemistry.
Okay. And your best?
My best was biology and actually Islamic studies. So I was really good on those two.
Okay. What scares you?
Snakes.
Snakes.
I just don't like creepy, like snakes and spiders. I just don't like scares me a lot.
Yes, I understand that. What advice would you give your young self?
What advice do I give your young self is you're loved. You're always loved.
And Izdihar, what is your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure. I like to read. I like to read books, and sometimes I read naughty books.
Oh, like Nora Roberts? Are you a Nora Roberts fan?
Yeah, that kind of thing. But more now, I like into like the seal kind of like thing. Like I like how they think, how they act, and then suddenly they fall in love. Like this tough guy, alpha guy, suddenly fall in love. So I like that part. I like my movies. My guilty pleasure of movies is actually action packed. I love the action-packed kind of movies, and the other guilty pleasure that I was introduced for to my recent birthday by the people that in a mastermind with me was that they taught me how to drink virgin cocktails. And I was like, dear God, no, I'm going to be sinning, I can't have alcohol. You better not take me to the bar. Like, can you imagine, like, hijab when women like going to the bar and sitting at the bar. I literally they put me right at the bar. And I said, no, I'm sinning. Like, no, you're going to drink cocktail. No, I can't. And then there's like, no, it's virgin. Like, virgin, basically it doesn't have any alcohol, right? But they just make the juices, and I all the time feel like I was sinning. But then they asked me, like, do you want another glass? Absolutely, give me another glass. I love that. It's just a mixture of juices, but they make it so fancy. Yeah. And I've only tried once, but I feel like if you find the right, what do you call it? The mixer, the mixology, the guy who mixes the drink, right?
Bartender.
I think if I find the right person that makes the perfect one, I think it's gonna be amazing.
That's
so it's like now, I know, like that's one of my guilty pleasure. Like, did I just like have a virgin cocktail like ever in my life? And then it was so. Those are my kind of like guilty pleasure, like action-packed movies. I like where things, the it's not just about the blowing up stuff, but it's actually the guts that the hero takes, right? That when they're like being beaten up and then they get back up again. Yeah. That's the moment that I like. And then the guilty pleasures of opening myself up to new experience. Exactly, that's right. I love the comeback of it. And that was that guy, who was it, like Jason Statham, I think, like Jason Statham, right? He's in a lot of action-packed movies. He always has the same kind of storyline, but I still get hooked in watching it.
Oh, it's super fun. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. We are so blessed and honored that you shared your story with us. The people who are out there casting stones are not the people getting scarred up and in the ring and taking the shots that are going to make the difference in life. But you are one of those people, and you're one of those bright, shining stars that we just really want to share with others so that people know that, you know what, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. And you are just such a beautiful example of that. So thank you. Thank you for your yes. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for coming here today. And remember, friends, we're stronger together. We go further, faster. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.